स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ के इस कार्यक्रम में आप सबका स्वागत है। सबसे पहले तो आज बैंक हॉलीडे, एवरीवन इज एंजॉयिंग द ऑन टाइम, might with the community, with the family, or the spirituals and temples or church or whatever. If you go everywhere, there is a two words people are looking for: the faith and trust. Faith, how you can keep faith? You cannot buy faith. You have to work for that. And the trust is like a rope, is a brake. You can join that, but you can see the knot. The same way, this principle of spirituality, there is a two leg, faith and trust. In every subject, in everywhere. We'll talk about the faith and trust, but today we'll talk about the policing. If you trust them, they will trust you. The both way. And we have two special guests today as well. Our hero, Borough Commander, Mr. Simon Owen, and our Siddhashram's media coordinator, Kajal Sehmi. Kajal, thank you for coming in our spiritual live show, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best. Do good work for the community.
Thank you so much.
So the community always with you. Kajal, before we talk about any spirituals, I would like to request you, because during our journey we was discussing so much is happening around the world, so much happening in the London, who to trust, who not to trust. So we have our Borough Commander, and he's doing command in Harrow, very successful for last 2-3 years, and what he say he do, and the behalf of Hindu community I can say the Hindu community trust him. But I think so, because you was asking more question to me.
That's right.
I think so you can ask him directly.
First of all, I would say thank you for having me on the show, and
Thank you.
thank you for your blessings for my birthday. As Guruji mentioned earlier on, that trust and factor are the two main things which we need when we approach somebody. So in terms of anything in life, whether it's a problem we face, or whether it's a spiritual aspect, or whether it's anything related to something outdoor, something which is outside of family. So when we're in trouble, we normally approach our family members for help. But when it's such a certain situation where we just can't approach someone in the family, we go externally. How do we gain that faith and trust to approach to someone like you, of course, who works with the Metropolitan Police? How do we gain that? I mean, how do we build up that faith and trust? Because it's very easy to say, come report it to the Metropolitan Police, we are here. It's very easy to say that. But for the victim to go through certain things in life, for them to actually go and report something, it's not an easy step to take. As you're aware, at Siddhashram Shakti Centre, we hold police surgeries. And even for somebody to attend the ashram just to speak to a police officer at the surgery, that takes them a big step. That's probably taking them guts to do that. So how can we make life a little bit easier for them, and to bring in that faith and trust? What does one have to do to gain that faith and trust?
I think it's a really interesting time to talk about trust in the police. The headlines over the last week, 10 days, have absolutely been littered with some pretty strong anti-police rhetoric relating to things that date back a number of years now. But we certainly know that trust is hard won. Trust in the police is hard won and very, very easily lost.
Sure.
We need to stand by our reputation. The Metropolitan Police was formed in 1829, and since that time we've spent time ceaselessly serving the public of London through 2 world wars, through terrorist atrocities, from the IRA all the way up to present day. And the common theme that runs through all of that is the gallantry and vocation of the police officers involved. So when you see these dreadful things happen, the members of the Metropolitan Police, the men and women of the Metropolitan Police, are the people running to those incidents, running to save life, to save property, and to arrest offenders.
Yeah.
We run to the things that everybody else runs away from. And day in, day out, officers right across London are doing just that type of thing, running to incidents where people need us.
Yeah.
And we know that in a vast majority of these incidents, things that we get called to, the public are really happy with what the police do. The police act bravely and professionally. Yep, every now and again things go wrong.
Yeah.
But what we want to is to stand by our reputation. So we have an unparalleled reputation across the world for fairness, impartiality. I've been to many parts of the globe and observed the way the police perform there. And when I come back to these shores and compare with what I see in different parts of the world to what we've got here in the UK, we should be really, really proud and really, really pleased with our
I
policing.
understand that you do courses as well, like psychology courses as well. Is it something which is compulsory, which you have to do when you are in training, when you're training your police officers? Because when you're in this kind of situation where something is emotional, say for example domestic violence or even a murder, obviously you're dealing with a lot of emotions here.
Yeah.
And for you as a police officer, that's quite a big responsibility for yourselves, for your officers, and of course how to deal with the victims. So how do you deal when it comes to feelings? You know, like you're trying to balance the whole emotional side of it as well, because you're dealing with very delicate matters, and in the Asian community especially, we have faced a lot of domestic violence, problems in the family, which can be quite emotional. So how do you balance your emotions out as well? And do you carry out courses?
Well, of course, dealing with people at different levels of emotion is what a police officer is doing all day, every day. And it isn't something you can spend hours and hours preparing for, because the minute you walk through someone's door, you don't know what you're going to be facing. You might be facing someone who's really sad. You might be someone who's facing someone who's going to try and kill you or assault you, or who's just done that type of thing to somebody else. So the first thing police officers have to do is to make that snap judgment, and sometimes those snap judgments are considered over many hours by professional legal brains, sometimes years later when seconds are dissected. So the professionalism of the officer is really important when he or she first turns up, to gauge the atmosphere, to see what has happened, to rapidly gather the facts and then do something about it. Now, you mentioned earlier on, how do we deal with that? Well, sometimes it's over years and years of practice, but sometimes the very first thing a brand new police officer can walk into might be the most serious thing he or she is ever going to have to deal with. So we need to rely on our selection processes to make sure we get the right people in the police service to begin with, but then the training also that the officers go through. And we do spend a lot of time talking and learning about victims and the way victims feel, and to try and get to a position where we can deal with everybody according to their needs, because everybody is different. Some people will need quite robust dealing with, other people need time and sympathy. And also across the different communities, across the different ethnic backgrounds, again, people have to be dealt with differently and communicated with in a way that actually suits them. And sometimes that, quite frankly, can go wrong. But what I'm most proud of is that a vast majority of the times it goes really, really well. So when I go around the communities of London and the communities of Harrow, the respect those communities have for the police really oozes through. But also there's forgiveness, and there's a realisation that police officers are human, and they're dealing with other humans in volatile situations, and sometimes things go wrong. One of the biggest numbers of complaints we get, and we don't get many complaints considering how many people we're dealing with, but a common one is that sometimes the police officer might have been a bit rude or incivil to me. Very, very rarely do we get any allegations that officers have beaten up people or try to make up evidence. That's very, very unusual. But a more common side is communication ones. So the thing I always say to my young probationers when I see them is, if you can treat everybody how you would want to be treated, or how your mum would want to be treated, or your grandma, how you'd want them treated, you can't go far wrong. But do you know that can be sometimes very, very difficult? And put yourself in the position where maybe someone has just spat in your face, or try to hit you, or try to stab you, and how...
I mean, that's when, sorry to interrupt, but that's when patience and self-control comes in, right?
And professionalism as well. Because whereas other people might react in a violent way to that person that's just tried to assault them or spit at them, my expectation of my officers and police officers generally is that we are the professional ones. Yes, we may need force to subdue that person. Maybe we need no force at all. But if someone spits in your face, you still have to deal with them.
Yeah. I think I'm going to blend this in a little bit with a spiritual, spiritual point. Guruji, you mentioned earlier on that we're going to go back to the beginning when you said that you need to gain faith and trust. It's like when you go to a temple or any place of worship, you go to a person who wants to pray to God and they're so angry and they'll say the most horrible things, but obviously God is standing there saying, I'm not going to be rude, I'm not going to shout back, I'm going to listen to that person. Let's put it in a human form now. We have a police officer here, we have a chief commander here who's sitting here telling us exactly his experience, the things he's been through. You, as a spiritual leader of Siddhashram Shakti Center, you have people coming to you with their problems as well. For you two, I have to admit, it's a very challenging job what both of you have to do because like you said, you're trained professionally, you're dealing with this on a daily basis. At the end of the day, you are human as well. You yourself as well, you've self-trained, you've had your Guruji's guidance as well, and you've learned also how to remain calm. Is there something you two are doing or some advice you can give to the viewers today to actually make them understand what your role is and why you are so patient with them regardless of what they throw in your face? Like you said yourself, people will spit in your face, people will complain about you. You have people coming in every day, oh, I'm suffering this, I'm suffering that, help me, what can I do? But you both are so calm. So there must be something you both are carrying out which helps you bring in the best in you to help our viewers, help our people to gain that trust in you.
What I would say, and I don't know if this is the case for you, for me and I think for many of my colleagues, it's a sense of vocation.
Okay.
You join the police, often when you're quite young, you join the police to help people, to bring offenders to justice, that type of thing. And what drives me through, is the vocation to do that. And no matter what was going to be thrown at me, no matter what the things I've had to deal with over my 30 years in the police now, I was there as a professional person to help people. But also a tremendous pride in what my organisation does day in, day out, but also a pride in its history.
Okay.
Even you can go back decades in the Second World War, officers risked their lives digging people out of bomb sites.
Yeah.
Now officers risk their lives daily running to deal with people that want to do the most appalling things to other members of society. My officers, even here in Harrow over the last 2 or 3 years, have had to deal with some pretty appalling murders within a domestic setting. I've had officers stabbed. I've had officers abused in many, many ways. But I've also had officers that have delivered babies and brought new life into the world. There are very, very few jobs where you can do this. So in my career, I've held the hands of people as they've died, and I've delivered babies during the ambulance strike a number of years ago. And to be with people at the very best times of their lives and at the very worst times of their lives, one, is a tremendous honour, but two, teaches you a great deal about human nature and about yourself and allows you to put things into perspective. And I find that many of the people that are out to attack or abuse officers haven't just woken up from a normal life one morning and decided that's what they're going to do. Yeah. They are products of their life and what has happened to them. Yeah. So one of the things we must always keep in mind whenever we're dealing with people who are in a distressed situation is that there's a history to this. Okay. And this may be the first time they've turned to anybody in authority to help them. And maybe that first time they lash out against us. Maybe they don't, but maybe they do. And the professionalism of my officers will shine through. And the pride the officers have in the organisation that is the Metropolitan Police shines through as well.
Guruji, your experience is something similar as well?
Well, whatever our commander said is a very good thing. Because being a police officer, they said, oh, is our duty is only in limit. No, they can go and beyond as a human value. Same way in spiritual world, there is a limit. But there is the same way as whatever our commander said, the organization, support, and organization, the capability and capacity. Same way in the spiritual world, when you look at all the scriptures, when you look at the Bible, when you look at the Gita, when you look at all other They always said, you can help others, but you cannot please everyone.
Yeah, true.
When you cannot please everyone, so that you can ask yourself what you did. You do something good. If your soul said yes, you're happy and you're doing something good, so that is your certificate from God. And that is a certificate from God. That means one soul you are make secure them, like Simon Owen said that regarding the baby birth, right? Another office might be they said, no, call ambulance, let the ambulance come, and then we will do. But it's a kind nature and is a duty. As a duty officer, no, it doesn't matter is a criminal or is an accident. No, this is also which is we have to help. Same way in spiritual, when the people come, oh, I have a problem with the home and I have problem with wife and I have a problem with children and I have this and that. We have to listen. We have to absorb first and then we have to take action. But if that action is wrong, then that will come to the reaction.
2 points there. First of all, going back to you, Guruji, you just say you take a lot of problems and you have to listen to everybody, and this is for both of you. You have to listen to a lot of things when people approach you. You're taking in, and on a spiritual level, you're taking in a lot of negative energy. So I'm going to ask on a personal level, what do you do to gain back your positive energy? I'm sure you must do something, which you come home, you've had a long day at work, and that whole energy is released when you go to sleep. To gain, and in your previous programs, you've also talked about gaining your positive energy back, but just for the viewers' sake, because we want the viewers to know how hard you both work, how hard our community work, how hard the Metropolitan Police work. We want them to know that you're there for them. At the same time, on a personal level, you must do something to get rid of that negative energy and gain your positive energy.
You see, personal level, Simon, when you help the people, but when your own people or your own officer or your priest or on your family, when they give the stress without understanding what you want to do, then is more stress. Then is only one way to come out, go to the church or temple, sit in front of the God. God, I never did wrong. Whatever you want to do, please help.
Sure.
Like a Borough commander, he's trying best level to make safe Harrow in a proper way. But the on staff, they're trying to understand. No. This is our experience. This is in my organization as a internationally. I'm trying to say no. This is the way which is you have to solve this community. And they say no. I have more experience. Yes, you have more experience, but we have the power. We command. If you follow that, the result will be positive. In that time, only one thing. Personally, myself, I do meditation. I think so. Yoga is also important, but meditation is more important. Why? Because it comes to the mind.
Simon, you're quite spiritual as well.
Well, I've gone on record many times in Harrow saying, yeah, I'm a practicing Christian. I go to church every week when I can, when I'm not working on a Sunday, and that is an important part of my life, and has been very, very interesting bringing that faith into such a religiously diverse place as Harrow. So I do go into your temple and wish everybody a happy Christmas and a happy Easter and into the mosque and places like that as well. And some people would shy away from that and think, well, perhaps you're going to be offending people. But again, my experience is quite the opposite, because the different religions have a tremendous respect for one another. And I think many people would be surprised just about the levels of faith in the police service. And I often speak to my priests and compare our professional lives and say the life of a priest, particularly the pastoral side of her work, is very similar to the life of a police officer. And the senior police officer not only has the community to worry about, but also all his own staff, her own staff as well.
For the viewers to actually gain an insight on what you do you offer any maybe open day courses or something where people can come and see what you do on a daily basis, or just on a one-off? They can see exactly how hard you work and what you go through.
We normally have an open day at the police station yearly, and I know that we're keen to do that again this year, so that'll be something that happens in the summer. But again, I've said if people or groups of people ever want to come around the police station, there are no secrets in the police station. Both of you guys have been around the police station now and seen
many times.
Many times, yeah. And for you to be able to come in and see perhaps how people are dealt with when they're arrested, or to see how police cars work and that type of thing, you'd be very, very welcome, because we are only there as a reflection of the community. The the most important thing for policing in the United Kingdom is that we police with consent. We do not impose policing on people. That doesn't mean sometimes people don't feel the police officer imposing their presence on them. Sometimes we have to, but by and large the community invite us to police. And in many, many countries that isn't the case. And so with whatever you think about the police and whatever the feedback is at the moment regarding things that happened a long, long time ago, be really proud of the police and do your best to trust us and do your best to help us. And sometimes it'll go wrong, but day in, day out, 24 hours a day, we're out there getting stuff right. We're bringing bad people to justice and we're protecting vulnerable people. And that is something we should all, not just me as a police officer, we should all be really, really proud of.
Definitely, I agree there. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I think so. There is also about the recruitment.
Yeah.
Many people, they want to join the police.
Yeah.
Even the family, the parents said, okay, my son or my daughter want to join. So what is the procedure for that?
Okay. Recruitment in the police has changed a great deal in the past few years, not only in terms of the educational qualifications of people that we have in the police, and many, many police officers now are graduates in their own right, but also the way you can join the police at what level. Traditionally, and when I joined about 100 years ago, it seems now, everybody had to join at constable rank, and then if you were going to get promoted, you had to work your way up rank by rank. We saw two things there. First of all, it really limited some of the groups of people that we wanted to attract in terms of their backgrounds, but also it limited things for many people from ethnic minorities and women as well, who were already running busy lives. So there are two things we need to get across. One, London is becoming more and more diverse, incredibly ethnically diverse. And we need a police service that actually reflects the people that we police. I, as a middle-aged white bloke, have never been a young black man. I've never been a young Asian woman. I've never been the subject of domestic abuse myself. So to bring people into the organisation with those backgrounds and those experiences is so important. One, if we're going to deliver a fantastic service that we want to, but also if we're going to gain the trust of those people that we police here in London. The second thing is about the different levels of entry now. For people that have already perhaps had a career and are very experienced, you can actually come directly in at superintendent now. There's an 18-month, 2-year training course that you're put through to achieve that. But we can attract people highly experienced, highly qualified from other industries into the police as well, again, just to broaden the outlook. There are many arguments one way or another about whether to be a senior police officer, should you have been a PC or not. And you know that could be the subject of a whole new programme that we could do there. But we're in the position now where people like that can be attracted in. At the other end of the spectrum, for younger people, perhaps graduates, you can come into the Met as a PC, and within a couple of years have made inspector rank. And I know, again, that will attract people who want to be police officers, want to be operational police officers, but also want to make rapid career movements. So what I would say to people is that we need difference in the police. We need difference in the police if we're going to continue delivering policing in London over the next 5, 10, 30 years. In 30 years, London is going to look even more diverse than it is now. We will only achieve that through people from the different communities actually coming in and joining the police. Again, we need your trust. We need you to understand and your families to understand you'll be looked after in the police, but most of all, that sense of vocation in you wanting to give something back to your own communities as well. And that will engender trust in the police. And it's going to be absolutely imperative that we achieve that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and thank you for valuable time. But I think so next month we would like to invite you again because the information we want to give more and more. And because time is always doing the job. Whatever the police doing, whatever spiritual, same way. But thank you very much for your valuable time.
It's a pleasure.
देखो बात यही बताई कि ट्रस्ट एंड फेथ दोनों चीज़ के ऊपर मैं बात कर रहा था और हमारे हैरो के बुरो कमांडर साइमन ओवन और काजल ने बहुत सुंदर बात उन लोग ने डिस्कशन की। वही चर्चा में अगले महीने हम कुछ बुरो कमांडर से और भी बात करेंगे। आपके कोई क्वेश्चन हो, कोई प्रश्न हो, प्लीज़ कॉन्टेक्ट अस। सो इन द नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम वी विल आंसर योर क्वेश्चन in the right manner, what you want to do. Also, the Kumbh Mela in India is going on. कुंभ मेला के अंदर हजारों की संख्या में साधु संत वहाँ उपस्थित है और कुंभ मेला की पूर्ण रूप से लोग आनंद ले रहे हैं। मैं भी अगला जो स्नान है 9 मई, उस स्नान में मैं भी वहाँ उपस्थित हूँगा। सभी साधु संतों का दर्शन भी होगा। दान पुण्य की जो भी क्रियाएं संस्था के माध्यम से करना है वो भी सिद्धाश्रम के द्वारा वहाँ होगी। जिन लोगों को भी इस में सहयोग बनना है तो संस्था को संपर्क कर सकते हैं। और ये जो है हमारा कार्यक्रम अगला वीक जो है नेक्स्ट अवर द प्रोग्राम रिगार्डिंग अबाउट हेल्थ एंड स्पाइन। सो प्लीज़ लुक दैट प्रोग्राम इज वेल। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर टाइम। ओम पूर्णमः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पुनश्च पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। हरि ओम। शांति शांति शांति।